You are now listening to The Forefront Radio, where we discuss history, the Bible, the history of the Israelites, science, and other matters. Bring it out. The history of the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans as it relates to the Bible. Who were you prior to slavery? Who were you prior to colonization? These answers and more can be seen and heard as you listen to The Forefront Radio.
Y'all, let's go. We got another exciting episode of the Forefront Radio. I'm your host, Afia Levi. Hope everybody's doing all right. So you got certain apologetics in the Christian community that always want to try y'all gangster. They always want to say, oh, you Israelites, y'all think y'all some Bible scholars. Y'all think y'all know what y'all talking about. We know better than you because we suffer from Eurocentric delusionalism. But now what we're going to do, we're going to prove them wrong. For example, we go over the fact that the Chinese folks are descendants of the biblical Moabites, right? And they want to argue us down and say, how do you know that? How do you know that? Even though it clearly tells you in the Bible that during the Babylonian captivity, the Babylonians pushed the Moabites further towards the east. It tells you that in Ezekiel, but they don't care about the Bible. So we're going to use secondary sources. Watch this. This is secondary source produced by their people. A woman by the name of Irene Erber was edited. This is called The Bible in Modern China. Bible in Modern China, the literary and intellectual impact, edited by Irene Eber and Z. Karwan and Nut Waf and Roman Malek. So you know this ain't got nothing to do with black folks. Watch this. The Chinese means to translate biblical Hebrew distinctions. Now, we're going to go to this real quick, where they translated the first verse of the book of Ruth that reads from Hebrew to traditional Chinese or Mandarin Chinese, right? It says, Vahi b'mei shofet ha-shoftim, and there was in the days of judged by the judges, right? Vaihi Ra'av Baretz, and there was a famine in the country. Veilish mi be'et lechem Yehuda, whence a man from Bethlehem, Judah, lagar bi Sidi Moav, hu vi ishto, which is to dwell in the fields of Moab. So now let's look at the translation that they have, which is the Mandarin version, also known as the Shorchusky version, which reads, it says, at Judge B in the power subparticle time, country in the midst of, come across a famine, Judah, which is Judah in Mandarin right here, Judah, Bolahem, which is Bethlehem. There is one class of a man who brung along his wife and his two sons towards Moab. Now, notice the Mandarin term for Moab right here. Moyadi. Notice the Chinese characters. Let me bring it up right here so you can see it. Notice the Chinese characters of it. Mohiadi, Moab, Mohiadi. So now we decided to go on Google Translate and we decided to look up Moab on Google Translate. So what does it say on Google Translate? Moab in English, pronunciated like this, Moab. And then Mohia right here in simplified Chinese. Notice the characters. Notice, now I don't speak Chinese, but I could look at symbols and see the similarities in symbols. So Mohia or Mohadi is Moab. Watch this. Notice the Chinese characters. Notice this one, right? Mohiadi. Then let's go back. Notice the Chinese characters right here in the pronunciation of Moab, Moya. So Mohiadi or Moab is right there in the translation. Y'all understand that? Okay. Let me go back to it just in case if y'all confused. Let me share the screen again for y'all. Let me share the screen again for y'all so y'all can hear it for yourself. Okay. I'm gonna share the screen again so y'all can hear it for yourself so that way nobody is confused as to whether we're coming across this information, and we ain't trying to deceive nobody because it's right there on Google. That's why I always say in the age of information, ignorance is a choice, right? So right here, it says right here, Mohiadi, Moab, right? Then when you go to the translation in Chinese, right on Google Translate, it tells you exactly what it is. Moab, Mohia. Listen to it.
Moya,
Moya.
Moy, Moya, Moab.
So Moab is Moya or Moyadi, like we just read in the Bible translation of the King James, no, not King James, the Mandarin Chinese Bible. So now I went online and I was looking up Moyadi in China. And look at here, look at here, look at here. TripAdvisor.com, attraction, Grotto of the Zhangkong Temple, under five, number 5 of the 8 logical formations. Now look at this picture. Look at this picture taken from who uploaded this picture of this temple. Y'all see how huge that thing is? Right? It looks a little pixelated in this picture, but I wanted to show it to you so you could see clearly a Asian temple, an Asian temple, Asian temple. Now notice this. When I scroll down and look up the address information, what does it say right here? Read it on the page. It says west of the Moyadi village, Mizi County, 7 west of the Moab village, Mohiadi, Mohiadi village. Let's look at what we saw earlier. The translation of the book of Ruth in Mandarin Chinese has Moab pronounced as Mohiadi. Mohiadi. I see the Chinese characters there, right? Then when you go over to the west of the Moyadi village in China, you find this attraction. You can't miss it. It's a huge statue, right? Grotto of the Zhuangkong Temple, located right west of the Moyadi village, west of the Moabite village, y'all. What? You can't make this stuff up. For the Christian commentator that be like, you Israelites don't know what y'all talk about. Y'all always trying to push y'all one West doctrine. Moabite village right in China, y'all. So now if that ain't proof enough for you, we got a book called Dragon, Image, and Demon. This was written. It's called "Or the Three Religions of China" by H.C. Dubois. H.C. Dubois. Now, was this written by Israelites? Let's find out. Brigham Young University. Brigham Young. So this is in the university books. This is collegiate level information for you scholars. Image and Demon, Religions of China, Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism, the mythology, idolatry, and demonolatry of the Chinese by Reverend Hampton C. Dubois. 14 years of missionary at Suzhou. Y'all see that? When was this printed? 1887. 1887. Watch this. Now we clicked on the search for Moab in this book. Watch this. Let's find out what it says about Moab. Let's find out what it says about Moab. Page 363. 3. What a claim for the emperor of the celestials, not only that he is the sovereign of the 400 millions, but that he is the king of the gods. Yea, they are constituted by him and derive their power from him. As of Moab, they're quoting now directly out of the Bible, as of Moab, it may be said, we have heard the pride of China. We have heard the pride of China. So wait a minute. In this translation of the book, they replaced the word Moab with the word China. And this is in a university book printed in 1887 for you scholars out there. For you scholars out there. We have heard of the pride of China, aka Moab. He is the exceeding proud, his loftiness and his arrogancy and his pride and the haughtiness of his heart. So wait a second. You got a book called The Bible in Modern China, where they're translating the book of Ruth, and its pronunciation is Moyadi for Moab, Moyadi. Then when you go to Google and you type Moab directly on Google, Google is saying Moya for Moab. Then you go to the grotto of the huge statues that are located in a temple, and it's saying that this area is west of the Moyadi, or then you got a historical book telling you in the historical book, we have heard of the pride of China. As of Moab, it may be, y'all, if you need more proof, y'all, that these Christians don't know what the hell they talking about, this is part one out of many, y'all. Part one out of many. Thank you for listening to the Forefront Radio, where the truth does not fear investigation. We just proved easily that the children of Moab are China, Chinese folks, y'all. Thank you for listening. Shalom.